Hi, I'm going to show you how to make a drape mold. Another term for this is the hump mold. So let's begin. So I have my plaster hump mold like this, and it's not a bowl, this is a solid form, and I'm going to put the clay over the top. I have my slab all rolled out, and I've already conditioned my slab by smoothing it in both directions. So what you do now is you take the drape mold and you put it on top and you cut the circle out first. It's important that you don't take this large piece of clay and try to put it on the mold. And because this mold has some sizable walls, I'm going to actually give myself a little bit of a circumference, maybe about 2 inches or 1.5 inches all the way around. I'm going to cut that out like that. And then I'm going to take it off of the mold, put this down, and then put the clay right on top of the mold like that. And I'm going to start bending. I want to make sure that it's fairly centered on there. And then this is the fun part. Then you start smacking. And what you're going to do is smack it up against the side and keep turning it so you get an even connection. If you have a little bit of an overlap like that, that's okay, just smack it. And if you need to, you can use a banding wheel so it'll help turn it. And that's it. Basically, that's how you make a drape mold. And now what I'm going to do is wait for this to get leather hard, and then I'll show you how to take it off. Okay, so now that you have your clay on your drape mold and it's leather hard, it's time to pop it off. And in order to pop it off, you need to trim up the edge a little bit. So I take a fettling knife like this, and I hold it horizontally, and I have this on a banding wheel. And I'm just going to stick the knife in like this on the side, like that. And then slowly turn the banding wheel, and I'm just trimming the edge a slight bit. You don't want to take too much off. If you want to even it off, you do that later. But right now, just a slight edge. And I'm keeping my elbow up against my body so the knife doesn't keep traveling upwards. I'm trying to get as even of a cut as possible. And then, in order to take the bowl mold off, you want to take your hands on either side and you lift up and let the weight of the mold pull down, and this will pull out from there. And so there is the finished bowl mold. And like all things in ceramics, it's good when the clay is soft to form it, but you need it to be a little bit stiffer in order to smooth it. So this is perfect for smoothing the rim. For a slump mold or a press mold, you want to make sure you have a slab of clay that's wide enough to accommodate the size bowl that you have. You also want to make sure that you've conditioned your slab. This has already been conditioned, so you don't get any warping. Then what you do is you take your bowl, you put it on top of the clay, and for this bowl mold I'm actually going to cut the exact size. But for some you might want to cut them a little bit smaller depending on the size that you want. So I've cut the circumference of the bowl first. That's very important to remember. Don't try to take your big slab and stick it in your bowl. You want to cut the circle first, and then you place it in and just try to make sure that it's even. Push down gently. You are going to hear that little release of the air, and press it up against here. Try to even that out. And then I'm going to take a rubber rib and just push it, compress it up against the side here. Whoops, didn't want to dig my fingers in, but just smooth that over. And this is pretty much it. You want to wait for this to get leather hard, and then you can turn the bowl upside down and pop it out. And because it has a rounded body, you're going to have to, a rounded bottom, you're going to have to put a foot onto it. And then also, once it gets leather hard, you can smooth your rim and do whatever kind of design or decorating you want to do on this. Now I'm going to show you how to put a foot on the bottom of your bowl. In order to make your bowl stable and functional, you need a foot. If your bowl is rounded on the bottom, you need it for stability. So there's 2 kinds of feet you can put on. The first one is with a coil, and the second kind are with balls. So I'm going to show you the coil first. You want to make a coil that's long enough to go around the sort of the widest part of the bottom of the bowl. You don't want to go out over here because this is actually higher than this. So I'm just going at this point right here, and I'm going to make the coil. Oh, and conversely, if you make it very small in the center, it's not going to be stable, because if you put pressure on this part of the bowl, it's going to tip over. So let's just get it right over here. And then in order to make a nice connection, I overlap and then I cut it on an angle like that. And I take this piece off and this piece off, and then this makes a very nice connection right there. And so, like everything in ceramics, when you're attaching, you need to score and slip. I'm just going to mark a little bit right here where it is. Remove that, score this up, score my coil, add some slip, so my coil just got slipped, and then stick it on like that. Squish it down really nicely. And then you can use a wood tool, if you'd like, to smooth it in and get a really nice connection all the way around. And you would do that all the way around. So this is foot number 1. Let me just show you how that looks. And of course, this is just how to attach the foot. You can decorate your foot. You can make it, add texture to it, shape it, that sort of thing. Okay, foot number 2 is 3 balls. And the reason I'm saying 3 balls is because 3 balls is more stable than 4. Because if one ball is bigger than the other, then it will still hold the bowl straight. If you have 2 balls, of course, that's going to be unstable because it's only going to balance on these 2 points. So with the 3, you want to make sure that they're lined up like equilateral triangles, like an equilateral triangle around your piece. Just take a moment to really space them out correctly. And then you will score and slip each ball on. And then you have your bowl. And then you can adjust it if you want. There you have it.